I could, guys, I couldn't be more proud of our guys. I mean, these guys they just answer the bell so far. It's just such a brutal, brutal stretch. I mean, it's not fair to ask your team to do this. We talked about the schedule a lot. We played 8 games in 18 days, traveled across the country, played a road game against one of our biggest rivals. And in the last 5 have been all top 500 teams, and you could just feel the fatigue of my guys growing, and they just found a way to group together and battle, knowing this was the last game. We got a couple of days to breathe here, and in a huge rivalry game with the Utes, who, the Utes, Larry personally has owned me, over our last 2 meetings, lost a game at UVU in overtime and Utah in overtime. So it's the guys just stepped up and got it done. I couldn't be happier for them or more proud of them and more excited about the resilience and toughness that they've shown. It's pretty fun.
Mark, on Wednesday night, you stated you needed to find some answers to bounce back in this rivalry game. What were the answers that you found?
Well, if I was a better coach, guys, I would recognize these things earlier. But it's so funny. We're just like, over the last 3 weeks, we've learned so much about who to play together, when to play them together, where to put them on the floor, what we can do, how can we function, and we've learned to get about it against a bunch of different opponents. So we have this massive amount of data we've gathered. We just haven't had a lot of practice time to implement changes. We did have a couple days of practice and a couple days for our guys to breathe before this game, and it was so incredibly helpful for us. So we're learning. We're learning about our team and learning about how to function. And these guys are, the most important thing we're learning is how tough these kids are, man. They're just awesome right now.
Coach, last year I asked you about the officials, so I feel like this game. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to ask you about the officials this time, but I do want to ask you about Spencer Johnson, who played 16 second half minutes. What did Spencer have going in this game where you felt comfortable playing him close to 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's interesting. Spencer Johnson is earned his way into this rotation by guarding. He just is such a special defensive player. He's got unbelievable closing speed. We don't have a ton of guys on this team with huge makeup ability, but he's got length and closing speed, and he's just been spectacular in his defensive assignments. He had he's just making a huge difference on our team in the backcourt with the way he guards, and he's clearly shooting it at a really high rate right now, and he's been fantastic. Spencer Johnson has not had an easy road. He was at Weber and then UVU and then Salt Lake Community College and then here all in the span of 2 years. And all the time with a belief that he had it in him to be a really terrific player. And he kept believing when a lot of people didn't. And he's proven it right now. And, watching stories like that it's the best part of sports, man. I'm really happy for him. He's got a lot of growing to do and a lot of proving, but he's proving that he is a force to be reckoned with on the defensive end and the offensive end.
Coach, we haven't seen much of Colby Lee since that USC game. Tonight he gets to start and plays 18 minutes. What did you like from him tonight, and what made you put him into the starting 5?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's really hard for me to make those decisions. I'm going to tell you exactly why I put him in the starting 5, because Colby has been really, really, really frustrated and disappointed. He started for 32 games last year, 32 games, and on a top 20 nationally ranked team, and started every single game except when he got sick at the end, and is one of the returning veteran guys. And here I bench him, and play him 2 minutes for 2 consecutive games. And he's about this team first, but that hurts. It hurts anybody that goes through that. It hurts. And so we jumped in practice on Thursday after we lost to Boise State in a heartbreaking deal. And we're doing some footwork drills. And I look down, we're on both sides of the court, and so I switch my attention down to the other side, and Colby doesn't know I'm watching. And he is coaching Gideon George like he's one of the assistants on the staff, encouraging, telling him exactly what to do, grabbing him, pulling him off the side and saying, hey, no, this is exactly how you do it, with passion. And I was just like, you just don't see that very often. I mean, what an extraordinary young man he is. And so I'll be honest with you, that's probably what made me start him tonight. Also with the calculation that he makes us function better on the offensive end. He just knows me and understands how we're eventually hoping to play, and he just makes us function offensively better. So those are the really two reasons. And Cope stepped up and was actually tremendous tonight. He had a really terrific game, and you're really blessed as a coach when you get to work with young men like this, right? That have that type of character. We talk about the best locker room in America, and when you see the best locker room in America, it's not when you beat Gonzaga and everybody celebrated on the court. It's when you just lost to Boise State and you got a player that got benched who started every game last year, and he's out there coaching like his life depends on it, helping a young guy try and figure it out. That's what the best locker room in America is, and it's pretty awesome when you get to see it.
Let's go with Josh Newman, Darnell Dixon, and then Sean Walker.
Mark, congrats on the win. This is a weird, kind of disjointed year. Programs are pausing because of COVID. You guys have played 8 games. Utah's only played 3. Did it feel like that you guys were a little more put together because you've had more games, more practice time than Utah has?
I can't really answer that. I just know where my team is. This has been brutal. Like, it's been really hard. Like, even in a normal year, you don't put this schedule together. This is our 5th consecutive top 100 team, and we're about to go on the road and play our 6th. We played 2 of them on the road back-to-back. We played them in really limited time. And we played 8 games in 18 days. So I can't really speak for Utah. I know that I know that our guys are like this next couple of days is incredibly important for them to catch their breath. We saw a ton of fatigue in this group to start the Boise State game. We saw a ton of fatigue in this group to finish this game here. We saw a bunch of fatigue at the end of the Utah State game. So I'm just excited for my guys. I'm excited. I'm so proud of them for how they managed this gauntlet of a schedule so far, and I'm really excited for them that they get to breathe. I mean, they don't really get to breathe now. They start 18-hour days studying for finals Monday and Tuesday, but it's a different type of work. So I couldn't be happier with what they've accomplished.
Mark, just to follow that up quickly, your front court specifically, can you just speak to how they played, really kind of taking it to Utah's front court?
Yeah, I mean, it's just listen, this Utah team is really good, and they're really well put together, and clearly they're really well coached. Their pieces fit together so well. I mean, you got, maybe the highest IQ point guard in the Pac-12. You definitely have the best shooter in the Pac-12. You got, the returning, I think, free throw leader and one of the scoring leaders in the Pac-12 at the 3, and then you got this cohort of bigs who are really versatile. The way they play, those bigs can spend a lot of time on the perimeter, and they're dangerous. And so it's they've done a terrific job putting this team together. Listen, Larry has proven to be one of the smartest coaches in that league, and he continues to astonish with what he does. And at some point, the Pac-12 is going to get smarter and not keep under-ranking them every year. Like, every year they rank them as the 6th or 7th or 8th team, and they always finish 2nd or 3rd. It's crazy. Like, sometimes you'd think they would bake into the cake that it's an unbelievable staff over there. So it's a great team, and they're going to have a great season, and we'll be cheering for them now.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, Mark, you guys were up 16, and then they cut it to 8. Then you had a 10-0 run, but what was interesting about that 10-0 run was that Alex was on the bench for much of that. What does that tell you about where your team is learning maybe to function, especially when Alex isn't really taking everything on his shoulders?
Yeah, it got a little chaotic. Listen, this was an important game for us because Utah, wisely so, I mean, their game plan is always to take away what you do best, right? And so they were really dedicated to taking Alex out of this game. And then you look at Alex's numbers, and it's just incredible how he responded. I mean, he's an 8-assist guy. It's his, it's his season high in assists, and I bet his assist opportunities was close to 16, and I bet his hockey assist plus assist numbers was close to 12, right? And so, it is really important. It's important for Alex, actually, and important for the team that the guys felt that. And we had so many contributions from so many guys. And this is kind of the ebb and flow of how you go through the season, right? Alex has just been an unstoppable force for 7 games, and so we've met a couple game plans the last couple games that are really dedicated toward taking him out of the game. And so teams start to do that, and then as our team starts to respond to that, then the next teams are going to look at it and be like, well, we can't overkill taking Alex out of the game because they can beat you in different ways. And it's kind of, if you watch scouts against your team as they go through the season, they kind of have this rolling course, and we're in the middle of that right now for sure.
Let's go last two questions. We'll go Sean Walker and then finish up with Mitch Harper.
Coach, kind of building on that, but you've been telling us for a couple of weeks now how deep this team is, and when all of the pieces kind of come together, starters, bench, everything, that this is going to be a pretty good team. Do you feel like you saw kind of more of that depth, I guess, that you've been talking about for a while, that you've been kind of praising to us for a while with guys like Big Rich and Spencer and Caleb Lohner being a monster on the glass like he always is, but also finding a shot? Like, do you feel like the depth kind of came more into focus, I guess, with this game?
Yeah, I think I hope so. I'm super frustrated, guys. I'm not, I've been frustrated with myself, not like I feel like a little bit of a slow learner in the sense of I have all these pieces and then trying to put them in the right spot and actually put them in the right actions and where they fit and how they fit together and whatever. I wish I could be doing this faster, but we are making progress. And certainly you saw that tonight, right? I mean, Rich was just a stud tonight. And like, this is the Richard Harwood I know. I mean, this is who he is. And, it's probably mostly my fault. He's kind of rounding into like people are going to love watching Rich because he is a monster and he's just such a handful down there. And he's, I wish I could have helped him and been smart enough to find the right fit for him earlier, and we're going to still keep exploring, right? And Spence has just come and proved it himself, and yes, I think the depth was huge here. I mean, the fact that I really do, with the exception of the backcourt sometimes, I really get to keep fresh bigs on the floor all game long. And they're all capable. They all can do different things, right? I mean, you think about Colby and how capable he is, and Rich and what he did tonight, and Matt Harms, of course, has such a huge impact on the floor, and Caleb Lohner is growing and learning. And I didn't get to Wyatt Lowell tonight, right? But Wyatt Lowell, I'm telling you, Wyatt Lowell is a player, and he's gonna have an impact on this season, and he's gonna have a terrific career as a Cougar. And so, there are a lot of pieces, and if I was a smarter coach, I'd have this figured out quicker. But we're learning.
Coach, last thing I want to ask from you is, last year, Rylan Jones was cooking on you guys, had a career high 25. How much of the scout was zeroed in on stopping him, and he goes 2 of 10 tonight?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have so much respect for this Rylan Jones. Like I said earlier, I think he's the highest IQ guy in the Pac-12. It's a little bit. He's got a little bit of a quality of Sam Merrill, where when you looked on film, the first go around, you're like, man, we're going to torch this cat on defense. Like, there's no way he can stay in front. We're going to take advantage. We're going to do A, B, C, and D. And what Rylan proved to us last year in our first go around with Utah is that he's a force to be reckoned with defensively in games. He's just always mentally one step ahead. It's the same way I felt about Sam Merrill, right? He just beat you because he always guessed ahead of what was happening, and he was always right. And that's how Rylan feels, and that it's a big reason why he's been such a force in the Pac-12. And we got a ton of respect for his game and what he can do. He's a special player, and he's still really young. So it was obviously we spent a lot of time talking about Rylan the last couple of days, as well as listen. Timmy Allen just cooked us last year, right? I mean, he just crushed us last year, and so we spent a lot of time on him and these bigs, and this Alfonso Plummer has scared everybody in the country. So this is a tough scout, a tough team to guard, a tough team to play against.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks, Coach.
Hey,
Congrats on the win.
hey, guys, have a great night. Appreciate y'all.